Hello everyone, welcome back to Evoverse. This time Evoverse will recap the movie from 2023 titled Devil Beneath. This movie tells the story of siblings who discover old secrets and lies about their family. When they investigate the secret, they are faced with a very creepy ancient creature. How is the next story? Let's review the storyline of this movie, and we remind you all what we will say this is a spoiler. For those of you who don't have a problem with spoilers, let's continue the story and enjoy. The movie begins with a man running scared through the Australian jungle. Right behind him is a mysterious creature. As the creature walks, the surrounding trees sway, meaning that the creature is very large. Because the man was old, he fell down. However, it turned out that what he was afraid of was not a mysterious creature, but a man in a black jacket who wanted to snatch a map from him. The man in the black jacket killed the man, but he was soon attacked by the mysterious creature. Without being shown the man's next fate, we instead move 8 years later, where a man named Nick is driving back to his hometown in rural Australia. Arriving at a house near the forest, Nick and his dog named Max are looking for his brother named Tristan. However, Nick did not find Tristan in his house. Then, Nick goes to the edge of a lake or swamp and accidentally finds a kangaroo carcass cut from a wild animal. When Nick examines the carcass, Tristan arrives. Apparently, Tristan had just left at the edge of the lake while carrying a shovel. Tristan then takes Nick to his house and shows him a letter from their grandfather, which turns out to be their grandfather at the beginning of the movie. So this house officially belongs to Tristan and Nick, while their mother and stepfather Sam have divorced after Nick's grandfather's death 8 years ago. During the divorce, Sam abandoned Nick, Tristan, and their mother. Because there was no one to earn money, Nick decided to migrate to the city. However, 3 years later, their mother dies, while Tristan lives alone in this house. Now, Nick returns home to bring Tristan to the city, because he hears rumors that their house will be bought by a construction developer for a very fantastic price. At the same time, Nick and Tristan have a visitor from their grandfather's friend, named Garvey. Garvey is an Aboriginal tribe that still survives. Garvey's arrival here is to buy the house and land owned by Nick's grandfather because this land is part of the Aboriginal territory and cannot change hands with other people or developers. Unfortunately, Tristan refused, because there was a developer who wanted to buy this land at a very high price. Garvey then advised Tristan that if Tristan's grandfather was still alive, he would not sell this land to outsiders. At the night, Nick and Tristan were chatting on the porch. At that very moment, they suddenly heard a loud roar from the forest. Nick and Tristan were frightened and immediately went into the house. While Nick was sleeping, he woke up because he heard a noise from the side of the house. He then came out of his room and met Tristan, who was also disturbed by the sound. As they were about to open the front door, Max suddenly barked. Nick was surprised and assumed that the sound was coming from Max. The next morning, Nick found his porch full of large scratch marks, but Nick ignored it and thought that the scratches were from a squirrel. At the same time, Nick and Tristan have friends from their teenage years. They are BJ, Jason, and 3 others named Rebecca, Kate, and Anya. Apparently, Nick was once in a relationship with Anya, but now Anya is engaged to BJ. In the evening, they are having dinner together and have fun. Except for Nick, who stays on the porch of the house, while Anya chooses to go to the van to make her bed. At that very moment, Jason, Kate, and BJ hear a roar from the woods. BJ also told Jason to go to the forest to check the sound he heard. Nick, who was standing on the porch, accidentally saw Anya in the van. He then approaches Anya and tells her about their past. At that very moment, they heard Jason screaming. Nick immediately goes to the forest and finds Jason drunk. Nick sees a mysterious black figure with glowing red eyes, but the figure immediately leaves when Nick realized his existence. Meanwhile, Anya goes to see BJ and instead catches BJ with Kate. The next day, Nick investigates his grandfather's belongings, where he finds a file of news reports about the death of his grandmother, who was declared mysteriously dead. Not only that, but Nick also found a map belonging to his grandfather that pointed to a door to the bottom of the lake. While shopping, Tristan gets a call from a developer who tells Tristan to come to his office and sign the payment for the heritage land. Meanwhile, Rebecca decides to swim in Billabong Lake near the forest. Arriving at the forest, Rebecca is startled by strange noises from the trees. On the other hand, Nick, Tristan, and Anya go to the office of a developer who wants to buy their land and house. Once there, they met with a property owner named John. he revealed that his company was willing to pay $60 million for the house and land left by Tristan's family, where the land would later be built as a factory. Before Tristan signed the contract, Nick accidentally found red light glasses, where the red light was exactly the same as the two eyes of the black figure when Nick found Jason in the middle of the forest. Not only that, but Nick also saw a map that was exactly the same as his grandfather's map. Nick also realized that something was wrong with John's company. He then told Tristan not to go to the sale and will think about this in 2 or 3 days. When Nick, Tristan, and Anya return home, Tristan loses Rebecca. Everyone looks for Rebecca by the lake, but they don't see her and only find Rebecca's towel. Meanwhile, across the lake, an old man who was fishing accidentally heard a woman's voice. The voice turned out to come from Rebecca, whose condition was now abnormal. Knowing that the current conditions have begun to be chaotic, Nick and Anya also plan to find out who John really is. Because Nick suspects that Rebecca was kidnapped by John. The two then went to John's office at night. Arriving in front of the office, Nick and Anya saw John preparing things with a man in a black jacket at the beginning of the movie. After John and the man in the black jacket left, Nick secretly entered the office and found various photos of strange creatures. Not only that, but he also finds a military camouflage shirt that makes Nick feel uneasy about John's real job. On the other hand, Kate and Jason go to the forest to look for Rebecca. Meanwhile, BJ and Tristan go toward the edge of the lake. In search of Rebecca, Jason and Kate are surprised by the appearance of a large monster figure. Jason, who panics, immediately leaves his girlfriend. At the same time, Tristan and BJ meet Rebecca, who is still in an abnormal state. Rebecca then hypnotizes the two of them to come with her to the bottom of the lake. However, Max suddenly came to attack Rebecca, which made Rebecca fall into the lake. At the same time, Jason and Kate came across the lake. When Jason arrived first, Kate was suddenly approached by a black monster and dragged to the bottom of the lake. Instead of helping, Tristan, Jason, and BJ ran away. The three of them then hid in the house. However, then the door of the house suddenly had someone banging on it. Tristan then opened the door and found that the one banging on the door was Tristan's stepfather, named Sam. Sam didn't come alone, he came with John and several other mercenaries. As it turns out, Sam has teamed up with John. They were hired by a company to capture the ancient monster that previously attacked Kate. Even more surprisingly, Sam turned out to be the person behind the man in the black jacket. Which means he was the one who killed Tristan's grandfather. Sam is willing to do all this for money, because if he manages to catch the ancient monster, then the company will pay $100 million. Sam then told Tristan, BJ, and Jason to work together in capturing the swamp monster. Meanwhile, in John's office, Nick and Anya met with Garvey and several other Aborigines. Nick then told Anya to return home, while he would stay with Garvey to find answers to all these problems. After Anya left, Garvey built a campfire. Garvey then began to tell the story of the aboriginal swamp monster called Bunyip. Bunyip was once an aboriginal man. He had a cruel ambition and defied his god. Until one day, the tribe ate the sacred totem animal and turned it into a monster Bunyip. Before the sound attacked the residents, the Bimi god managed to confine Bunyip in a cave located at the bottom of the Billabong swamp. But one day, there were 3 girls who challenged the power of Bunyip. Instead of defeating Bunyip, the 3 girls became part of Bunyip and turned into evil spirits that would help Bunyip become stronger. But unfortunately, that power only lasts 20 years. So if the monster wants to be strong again, Bunyip must find 3 women, and coincidentally, there are currently 2 women who have become victims, namely Rebecca and Kate, and only one left is Anya. Here is another, Anya, who just arrived home and was suddenly beaten by Sam until she fainted. Sam and the others then used Anya as bait to catch Bunyip. They then put Anya in the cabin of a car near the lake and waited until the swamp monster came out. After waiting for a long time, Bunyip finally appeared. He attacked Tristan and John's car, but fortunately one of John's men managed to catch Bunyip with a net gun. Unfortunately, in the capture, Bunyip managed to escape and began attacking John's men. Tristan, Jason, BJ, and Anya then tried to escape, but unfortunately, Anya was intercepted by John, which made Anya choose to go into the forest. While Tristan, BJ, and Jason were chased by Bunyip until the car they were traveling in crashed into a tree. In the accident, Jason died while BJ and Tristan were captured by Rebecca and Kate. John, who had been chasing Anya, was then attacked by the Bunyip. When Anya was about to run away, she was caught by Sam. In the morning, Nick finds that people are no longer at home. He is then visited by Garvey, who is ready to help Nick find his brother and friends. Meanwhile, Sam takes Anya into the hole leading to the Bunyip Cave. Once inside the cave, Sam leaves Anya alone, while he hides to catch the Bunyip. At the same time, Tristan and BJ were held by Rebecca in the same cave. BJ looks badly injured and can't last much longer. A few hours later, Nick and Garvey arrived at the entrance to the cave. Garvey then gives Nick a weapon in the form of an aboriginal tool. The two enter the cave and find that Anya is being hypnotized by Bunyip. Before Nick stopped Bunyip, Sam suddenly came to attack Nick. The two then fought until finally Nick managed to defeat Sam. Garvey then begins to attack Bunyip while Nick and Anya try to take Kate and Rebecca away. Arriving at the exit of the cave, Nick told Anya and others to leave first, while he returned to the cave to save Tristan. In the fight against Bunyip, Garvey used Boomerang as his weapon. Nick finally managed to find Tristan, but unfortunately, Nick then began to fight with Sam. In the middle of the fight, Garvey used a trumpet to defeat the Bunyip. The sound from the trumpet managed to blow up the Bunyip, but unfortunately, the resulting explosion made the cave collapse completely and caused Garvey, Nick, and Sam to die in it. Tristan then returns to Anya. He tells Anya that Nick cannot be saved. The next day, Tristan decides to go to the city using Nick's car and leaving his grandfather's house. The movie closes with Garvey's voice saying that the Bunyip is still out there, and the movie ends. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and see you on the next movie recap.